Hey everybody, hello and good afternoon. Greetings from Chicago, Illinois. Local time is 4:19. Today once again is Saturday. Oh, she just braked. Sydney J just braked. Alright, so it's Saturday, September 15th, 2018. Happy birthday to my beautiful daughter Jackie. 21st birthday. Wow, right? I don't remember when I was 21. It's a blank. 21 years old. Wow. Yeah, I don't think I'd want to go back to being 21. Anyway, so Sydney Jade and I are only 154 miles to Sheboygan. We're gonna go home for the night and tomorrow and leave tomorrow night. And then deliver first thing in the morning in Sparta, Wisconsin. Oh, a little bit of an update. I guess I inherited Larry's load. Remember yesterday, I think it was, or early this morning, I said Larry and I are loading in Abbotsford, Wisconsin, delivering to Manchester. Well, it turns out there's only one load, and that was Larry's load, and the boss gave it to me. So, yeah, Larry's not loading there. So who knows where he's going? I guess you guys have been sending me a lot of YouTube videos, the same videos. Mostly same one over and over and over again, but none of them really addresses the issue or the feature that baby blue Sydney Jade has. So, and one of the things that you guys always keep telling me is to wait, start the truck, bump up the cruise control to about 500 RPM, or about 6, maybe 7, and then wait for the engine shutdown light to come on, press the brake or the gas pedal. I have done that, and 5 minutes later the light comes back again, only to shut down again. So that doesn't work. I also tried releasing the brake on the tractor while the trailer brakes are parked, put it in gear, and that still dies. And as I said earlier, Larry, he went through the booklets and owner's manuals last night, and there's nothing in there that says anything about the optimized idle. So some of you have suggested correctly, which is I'm going to take it to a Ryder dealership. Larry and I tried to call the 24-hour hotline last night, only that they were closed. How can it be a 24-hour hotline if it's closed? Well, there is a Ryder dealership in Sheboygan. That's on South Business Drive. And fortunately, they are closed tomorrow. And as you know, I'm leaving tomorrow night. I've been asking a lot of drivers out there that drives International LT. Either they have a totally completely different setup. Some of their feature does not have with Sydney here, and some of the feature that Sydney has they don't have. So worst case scenario, I'm gonna go to a Ryder tomorrow or the next, Monday or whatever, and have them teach me how to do that or cancel the idle shutdown. Now, as far as bumping up the speed from 66 miles an hour to, I don't know, 70 or 72, I don't think Ryder will do that. I think that's their company speed is 66 miles an hour, and I don't think a customer can request to have that changed. Boy, I'm glad I went this way, because I was really tempted to take 294 around, and so I said, you know what, I'm gonna go through downtown Chicago. And you know how you go on the far right lane on 80 and also on 94? By the time I got to the 94 lane, then I noticed the traffic was backed up all the way from the Oasis, as far as I can see, the South Holland Oasis, all the way to where 94 was. And once you get to that left lane, you can't get over anymore. So you had no choice but keep on going. So I'm kind of glad I went this way. By the way, the local temperature here, according to Sydney's measurement, is 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Right now, I've got the cruise control set at 60 miles an hour. Oh, look at that express lane. They're backed up too, so oh boy, if they're backed up over there, they're gonna be backed up over here sooner or later, unless that's the lakeshore backup. Sydney's still averaging at 8.4 miles to the gallon. That's pretty decent. That is actually pretty decent mileage. But then again, keep in mind, we only have about 22,000 pounds of freight. So, but still, I don't think Baby Blue did anywhere near that empty. There goes my castle right there. I have been fascinated with that building since that first time I've seen eyes on it. Yeah, they're gonna be backed up already. Look, that's not just the lakeshore part. As soon as we reach the bend here, we're gonna be slowing down here. So might as well slow down now. Well, I wanna leave the cruise control on, see what she'll do. I got the cruise control set at 60 miles an hour. I just want to see how she reacts. Watch this. Holy smokies. Holy smokies. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, Sydney Jade just did that on her own. Now the cruise control canceled now. She downshifted to 4th gear. I didn't touch the brake. I didn't touch nothing. I was just hanging on to the steering wheel for dear life. That's it. That worked out pretty good, I guess. Oh, now this is the perfect opportunity for this ice shift. I mean, this is great right here. This is where the ice shift shines. Oh, I love it. I do love it. I can't stop grinning. I love it. By the way, I can't believe nobody picked up the buried treasure over there at Remington, Indiana pilot. I guess nobody has seen that video and went through there. Or maybe they just figured, what a cheap thing to just go there. Remember back in right when you cross into the Indiana, Illinois, there's always that two dips that goes really deep and it slams you on the bottom of the floor and just give you a big back slap. I should have filmed it. I went through there today and it just went. It was smooth. I mean, I felt it, but there was nowhere near like Baby Blue did, or even that white truck, the Volvo. Ah, that Volvo! I was really disappointed in how rough that Volvo rode. It was. I had the impression that Volvos were very smooth riding trucks. Not that one. Alright, why did I name this truck Sydney Jade? Sydney Jade is my niece. Oh. Sydney is born in Hong Kong with my nephew Andy. I have not yet met her. I've FaceTimed her many times, but I haven't had the pleasure of meeting my first great niece or granddaughter. How does that work? When your brother's son's daughter. I call her my granddaughter. She is my brother's granddaughter. I figured kind of the same, right? I wonder if we should grab that left lane. Come on, Mazda, go. You know you want to. No? Okie dokie then. That worked out pretty good. to tell you guys a little story that happened back in late 87, early 88. First, I want to give you guys somewhat of a background story to make it all make sense. Back in this is actually part of Philippine history. It's on the record book. Somewhat, not all of it. All right, according to the written history, General MacArthur was, I think they were bombed out by the island of Corregidor. There's an island in the Philippines, in Manila somewhere. It's what it is a very small island with big guns, and for some reason they lost it to the Japanese army or navy, and so when they lost Luzon. Well, I think what happened was General MacArthur and his staff got onto the PT boat and ran to Mindanao. But let me back up. On the history book, from Manila, they went to Sydney, Australia. But according to local stories, that before they went to Australia, it was Manila, Mindanao, and then Australia. Because Manila is on the north, Australia is on the south, so it would make sense. So anyway, according to the local folklore, I would say that MacArthur stopped in Mindanao in Bukidnon, and there was a kind of a, what would you call it, an Air Force landing strip, and there was a big cave, a really big cave, where they used it as a hangar. This is somewhere in Camp Phillips, somewhere in Bukidnon. Anyway, so that's where their operation was, in Cagayan de Oro or Mindanao. And when the Japanese army or navy was closing in, they took everything they had, planes, aircraft, spare parts, jeeps, anything that they had, they put it inside the cave. Now, from what I understand, this cave is massive, pretty big. And so when they put everything in, they blew the door shut. They dynamited the whole thing, caved it in, and leaving all the spare parts in the aircraft and everything else, jeeps, leaving it intact inside. They just blew the door, because the idea was they were going to come back and retrieve those things. So that's what this story is. It's not written in the history. You can't find it in the history books, but that's what the local people say what happened. So my dad kind of heard this, and as I said, late 87, early 88, 1987, 88. I don't know, my dad got a little bit adventurous. The cave is somewhat like this. There's a mountain that run this way, and the cave was here, and the mountain runs along that side, and somehow you can still see the air strip kind of. Of course, it's all been farmed and everything, but everything is all grown, but you can pretty much still see the layout of what was a big operation of a kind of an airport for the military. At about a mile down that road, a mile down the other side of the mountain, it turns out that they say that the mountain, there's a cave that runs this way. From the cave was here, and there's another mouth of the cave about a mile that way. And a few people tried to open the mouth of the cave. They used their, manual labor trying to penetrate the cave. They got as far as maybe 20 feet, and the lack of technology, the lack of knowledge of how to tunnel stuff, I guess nobody made it. But according to the local people, as I said, the cave runs this way. And so my dad and I, my dad's girlfriend, and two of my best buddies, we went to the other side of the cave trying to reach, try to cross the cave this way. One interesting aspect of the other side of the story is, or the other side of the other mouth of the cave, is it's a kind of a bowl. It's surrounded by mountains, and it's kind of a downhill like this, and the mouth of the cave was down here. I remember, it's over there, right? So the story is, when it's typhoon season, it would rain so hard that this little bowl would fill up with water, and when the certain amount of water would reach, and all of a sudden the water would just disappear. It would kind of like a toilet, somebody flushed it. According to my dad, that when the water slows down and all the branches and all the soil, leaves and everything, it starts to clog up the hole, the mouth of the cave, and it would, as I said, it will clog up, and then that's why it creates like a cork. But if there's enough pressure, enough water pressure going to the hole, that will just flush everything out, and that's why the whole bowl was just drained. So we went cave diving on the other side, and I tell you what, that cave was really deep, and all we had was flashlights and ropes, and nobody was experienced how to dive a cave or anything, and we were totally just amateurs. I mean, you were like, might as well be little kids playing hide and seek. Literally. I tell you what, that cave had been, I don't know, 300 feet deep, maybe. I remember going down that cave. It was the darkest, pitch black experience that I've ever seen. It's you literally put your hand about 2 inches from your face, and you couldn't see nothing, but you could feel the heat of your hand in your face. And as I said, we went down kind of a zigzag there, and there was a very small hole that went sideways like this, and you had to crawl in there like a snake. You had to crawl with your arms, both of your arms forward like this or down like this, and start crawling, because it was just really, really tight. But you went through that hole, and on the other side of that hole was a big shaft going up. But it didn't go all the way up to the top, though. In fact, we couldn't see the top of that thing. That's how tall it was. So we made it to that little hole to the shaft, and there was on the bottom of that shaft was a little puddle, and that puddle consisted of mud, leaves, branches. Now, I don't know whether it was true or not, but I surmise that if you go down to this hole, it probably went this way. But we didn't have the equipment to go down and come up to the other side. But I suspect that if we could have gone down that puddle on the mud, if we could have dug that out, it probably went over the other wall, and it would have been a big, long tunnel and cave all the way to the other side. That's my imagination anyway. So we gave up. But the funniest thing was, on inside that shaft, which I will never forget, I don't know why, there was somebody's carved using a rock. There's somebody written on the wall the name Marsikom. MERSIKOM, something like that. Marsikom. And we never really found out who that name belonged to.